Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sleeper Hold, where there are no disqualifications on the topics and false count anywhere. Joining us, as always, is myself, the analyst Robert Leach, accompanied by, to my far left, the Kluganator.
Yep.
Two places to my left, the insider, Eric Zeidler, and our guest tonight,
Hi.
the one and the only,
You had to wait till we were on the air.
Benjamin Kluganator. Oh, he got caught.
Busted.
Not tonight. Anyway, so...
You never introduced our guest.
Yeah.
Because there's an intrusion.
Right.
So we've got current referee and wrestler in training, Joseph Pullman. Yeah, he's here. He's live.
Thank you. He's here.
On the Sleeper Hold. And basically, we're going to go over...
What'd you do, Rob? Yeah, Rob.
We're going to go over every story.
That's no sound effect. That's Rob.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Rob when he gets told no.
Every story, every piece, every answer.
He's so talented that he can cry and talk at the same time.
I'm a ventriloquist, ladies and gentlemen.
Throws voice.
So we're going to go over everything about your time in professional wrestling.
Okay.
And
Normally he's in the other room, but
Yeah, I got you.
it's all right. It's all right. We're going to have a good night.
Okay.
So tell us how you got started as a fan of pro wrestling.
Well, my dad was always into wrestling whenever, even before I was young, even before I was even born. I remember, I think it was like January of 2009. I would have been like 8, 7 years old. And my dad was watching Raw, and I came in one day and saw CM Punk defeat William Regal for the Intercontinental Championship on Raw. And I've been watching it ever since. And I never grown out of it, never got tired of it. So like, and it's always been like a bonding point with me and my dad that we would watch wrestling all the time, watch it whenever I could be there at least. What are you doing?
I don't know. I get like this sometimes. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Easy sport.
and I mean that's how I started to become a fan, and then it just grew and grew and grew and grew.
So how did you start going to indie shows in your local area?
Well, I remember before. It was like, yeah, it was before, a little bit before November. Dad called me into the room and be like, hey, there's this wrestling event going on in Jacksonville, and it was a PWA event. It was Thanksgiving Terror in Jacksonville, like their second PWA event that they were doing in Jacksonville at the Bogarts Banquet Hall. And we went to it, and I had a blast. And it was that night, I was telling myself, like, okay, these guys are doing it, and I had no idea that a local independent scene in Illinois was even, like, beginning. And I was like...
it wasn't really beginning.
Well, like,
yeah.
I mean,
and
there were other companies before us, too.
And I had no idea it was existing, I guess, is the better word.
It's bigger now than it ever has been, though.
Yeah. That's true. But I had no idea it existed, and it was that night I told myself I was going to be a professional wrestler. And eventually I started to go to more Jacksonville shows, and I started to go to more Springfield shows. And through all this, I started like filming like clips and like interviews, I guess, and posting them online for the wrestlers in PWA, and it just grew upon that. So just the local indie scene.
So how'd you get involved?
Well, I first started hanging out with you, and
I know, I just like hearing it.
yeah, I first started hanging out with you all the time.
Leave it to Rob to pat himself on the back in a broadcast.
I can't reach back there, actually.
I got you. There you go. It's like you're a baby trying to get burped. Don't do it.
He did.
That's disgusting. Anyway.
Live on the air, ladies and gentlemen.
Wish I had a delay button.
It was It was last summer, and I don't know how it happened. I think you talked to some higher ups in PWA, but I started going to shows with you, and I started helping out with the ring in PWA, and I mentioned to the higher ups PWA that I wanted to be a referee, and as long as my start, I had my first actual event setting up the ring and watching the show and taking it down at Take Me Out to the Brawl game 4, 5, 3? I think it was 4.
6.
6?
Yeah.
And
I
negotiations
missed
are already in progress for the next one.
No. It was 5. It was
5?
That's on
Well, that was my first event. And then it just grew upon that, started helping out with rings, and I still do. And it was my first PWA event that I refed for was Quake on the Lake. My first actual wrestling event I refed for was Unfair Games in Verdon.
CIPW.
CIPW, yeah. And it just went from there, and eventually I started to go into more shows like Proving Ground Pro and Glory Pro and Pro Wrestling Force. They started booking me. I recently tried to go to Indiana and try to expand what I was trying to do over there in terms of reffing. I mean, I didn't ref in Indiana yet, but I set up the ring and I took it down and I watched the show and I made my voice known, I guess. And I try to do that every single weekend with shows. So it just came to that, and yeah.
So, you wanted to start training to be a wrestler, but there was nowhere really in this area that you could train because the academy's been closed now for a little while, and there's really no other beneficial places. I mean, there were some places you could have went. I'm not going to get into those, but
That's not saying.
well, no, we're not talking about backyard. We're talking about
No. Some people train backyard.
anyway.
Anywho.
So you found this place down by St. Louis, is that correct?
Yeah, so how everything started with training, I'll tell the whole story from here. It was that night, Thanksgiving Terror. I was 13, and I'm like, alright, I want to be a professional wrestler. I see guys like Derek Moss and Roscoe and Jake Lander, and I'm like, okay, these guys are doing it, and there's an academy. And I was 13 at the time, and you had to be 16. So I was like, alright, I'll wait 3 years. 3 years came, I turned 16, and the Pinfall Academy closed. So, it was a blow to me, and at that point, I kind of felt hopeless, I guess. I'm just like, man, I just want to go train to be a wrestler. I want to do this. I want to go wrestle on shows, and I want to do all of this. And I had to wait. I didn't want to wait.
Well, one of the things that was against the academy was the fact that it was in Auburn.
That too.
And so that was kind of a no-sell point for a lot of people. So it was just lack of attendance why we eventually had to shut it down. Because the overhead was not worth what was being brought in.
Yeah.
But you never know. One day it could rise out the
it could return at some point, but probably back in Springfield.
yeah, for sure. But I felt kind of hopeless in that sense, and it was September. It was after the 8th show in PWA. I saw this ad on Facebook of a school in East Carondelet, which is close to St. Louis, and it was Cowboy Bob Orton's school. So I immediately called the number on it, and it was Sean Vincent. He still is a professional wrestler in the St. Louis area, and he trained with Matt Seidel and Delirious and Mischief. And I talked to him, and we talked for 30 minutes on my way to the Beardstown show at PWA because they were doing that doubleheader.
That was a busy day.
That was very busy. I was in a van with a bunch of other guys. I was on the phone the entire time. But I told him who I was, gave him the credentials. I had a savings account that had $600 in it, And November 6th was the day I finally started training. And it was myself and two of my best friends named Steven and Jacques. And we went there, and there was Cowboy Bob Orton, Sean Vincent, a wrestler named Ricky Cruz out of Puerto Rico, and a wrestler named Chris Hargis out of St. Louis. And there were those trainers. It was me, Steven, Jacques, and another guy who was really good now. And since then, it's been really, really fun. At the start of it, at the start of training, I became really self-doubtous of myself, I guess is a good analogy to use. I became really self-doubting myself and everything, and I just went home really mad at myself. But that eventually changed, and I'm a lot better now than I was November 6th, and hopefully soon I can be done with training and be a professional wrestler. But training with Cowboy Bob Orton, it didn't really hit me until one day we were all just kind of sitting around talking. He was talking about whenever he had the storyline with The Undertaker in 2005, and I was just sitting there in the corner listening. I just dozed off because it hit me okay, whoa, that guy that did that with Undertaker and was in the main event of WrestleMania is right there training me. It's crazy, and I'm really glad for it. And there's been some funny stories with the Academy. I'll tell one that I was kind of confused on, and this isn't kind of a knock, I guess. It's kind of more or less we're kind of ending training, and this is just a weird way to end it. So it was the first day of training actually, and Bob Orton was demonstrating some moves, and he told us how to do a good punch. You need to practice on the curtain or practice on a wall or anything like that. And he demonstrated what he thought, what his punch was. So he did it, and he dozed off, and got out of the ring. And then the guy, ring crew leader, we were all standing there in silence while he was standing there in silence after doing the punch and getting out of the ring, and it was kind of funny. It was kind of a weird way to end it off. But yeah, training.
Too many chair shots back in the 80s.
Maybe. But training's been great.
Or 90s.
I love every Tuesday and Thursday going to it.
So, as you get closer and closer to your debut, who is the one person that you really want to have a match with when you start?
There isn't really necessarily one person. One guy that in the Central Illinois area that I do think I can put on a really good, or Midwest more or less, Midwest. A guy that I really do think I really want to have a match with would be Danny Adams. Danny Adams has been wrestling for years, and I really think that'd be a really fun match to do. I think Victor Analog would be really cool. I think Handsome Dan Liplock would be really cool.
He's got that big ass grin on his face.
But
you won't be able to fit his hands with the whole.
There's a lot of guys that I really want to wrestle, but they're I won't ever be mad.
Will have a permanent smile
at
circular
to wrestle anybody. I guess I won't ever go to a show and see that I'm wrestling somebody and be mad about it. I've wanted to be a wrestler since I was 13, and I've had setback after setback, and now I'm here. I just want to, whoever I'll face. It's wrestling. I'm just gonna love it.
Very much is. So, do you have any goals when you make your debut?
I kind of set my goals goal by goal. First it was to training, then have my first match. I guess a goal is just to really travel everywhere, or all around the country and all around the Midwest, and really get my name out there as much as possible and make as many friends in the business as I can, and just be on good terms with everybody. And as far as actual career goes, I'd love to be considered like a breakout star my first year. I think that's a good goal to set in any promotion or the entire probably not the entire Midwest, so there's many guys that's going to be better than me, but breakout star would be a good goal set.
So, who would you say have been your biggest supporters and inspirations? So far.
My dad. You. You're pretty good.
Is it just me, or is Rob throwing all these loaded questions that end up
I'm gonna have to kick my feet
him
up. Shit's getting
No.
Ding, ding.
No.
You support me, Rob.
It's about time for a new shovel, Rob. It's starting to smell.
I support you, but don't bring my name up after I ask the question.
Okay.
It only makes me look bad.
Okay. Other supporters that I've had have been Handsome Dan Liplock. You know, almost every single night I go from training, he's always, you know, talking to me like, hey, how'd it go? Hey, we can always do this. Riley McGuire, another big one. And I don't know if you can count this as a supporter, but like, he's always been there, and I've always went to him for advice. And that was Jake Lander. So I think those guys really are support. I look up to him and be like, okay, you guys support me on this, and I appreciate that. There's others. There's way more others, but like as far as like top goes, Victor Analog too, and Derek Moss. As far as like top goes, those guys are it.
So, for now, before you make your debut, you're still a referee.
Yeah.
Is there any certain thing you want to do as a referee? Do you have any plans coming up? Or do you have any goals set for being a referee?
I've taken a referee bump. That was cool.
Let's say, for those that don't know the lingo, referee bump is whenever a referee takes a shot from one of the opponents in the ring.
Yeah.
Whether it be intentional or accidental.
Goodbye and good night.
Shake something, kick me in the face. As far as goals go, I think reffing a main event title match would be really cool. I haven't got to do that yet. I've reffed a main event and I've reffed a title match, but I haven't done that together.
That might be coming up soon.
Maybe.
You never know.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah. As far as goals go, I think that's it. And
now, are there any of what we would refer to as the PWA legends that you're looking forward to working with whenever you get in the ring?
Tom Arson would be a really good one. It's like anytime I see him, it's really good. Attitude Inc.'s a definite. If you would count them as legend, could you count them as legends? They've been around for a long time.
They've been around as long as Arson has.
Yeah, Attitude Inc. definitely, because they're insane. If he ever does make a comeback, which in my eyes is doubtful, but I think Michael Shard would be really good. I think in PWA Legends, I think those guys would be really, really, really fun to work with.
I'm surprised I didn't hear Derek Moss's name on there.
I mean, do you count him as a legend too? Like, I don't really know.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Well,
He's the first ever 3-time regional heavyweight champion. Now, not to take anything away from Casey Jackson, who's the first ever 4-time PWA regional heavyweight champion. Derek Moss, however, is the longest reigning regional heavyweight champion at 539 days.
I guess Derek Moss would as well.
Yeah, I noticed how that just kind of rolled off. 39 days.
Yeah, it's like he was studying it before the show or something.
I've been studying it ever since we
got him stumped.
Ever since 2016.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Sleeper Hold for now.
Ever since 2016, when he lost the title on his 539th day. That number's been planted in my head.
I think that was really around whenever I started. Like, Derek Moss, like, I came into PWA whenever he was still regional champion. Like, he kind of won it in that same year, and I saw, like, his rise to being the 3-time PWA regional heavyweight champion, and I saw him retire, and I've been there throughout the whole thing. And I kind of carry that with me, I guess. So yeah, Derek Moss would definitely be a legend that I would have a match with.
I can agree with you on that one. Me and you didn't start far apart in PWA.
No.
At least you going to shows and me going to shows.
Yeah.
My first show was Derek Moss's third defense of the title.
Yeah, so we both saw.
So yours was his 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
So we both watched the entire career.
Yeah.
And he killed most of it, yeah.
For sure.
But back on topic, basically, that's all the questions I have. Do either of these two gentlemen have any questions?
Well, I already threw in mine.
God, now the spotlight's on me. Okay. Anywhere in the world, doesn't matter the company, your dream match to referee. Anybody, no matter what company, just dream match. If you could pick one match, the ultimate match to referee.
Chris Hero and CM Punk have been my two favorite wrestlers of all time. So if CM Punk would ever make a comeback to wrestling and Chris Hero is still around, definitely that. And I don't know, NXT, All In, whatever. I think those two, they've had match after match after match. I think if CM Punk made a return to wrestling and had a match with him, I would definitely love to ref that one.
Well, I do believe we still have a bit of time left, so how about we cover some indie stuff?
Okay.
This past weekend, I went on down to a wrestling show in Kincaid, Illinois, CIPW, where we saw the current Unfair Games champion Harley defeat Johnny Kincaid, I believe, to retain the title. We saw handsome Dan Liplock defeat Jason Allen. Clean as a whistle, 1, 2, 3, might I add.
I don't buy that.
Damn, I gotta get that cough checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's a bad cough.
Yeah, it always happens whenever you mention something about Liplock winning cleanly or something. It's kind of a coincidence.
Some people that were in the audience told me that it looked like I gouged Jason Allen in the eyes while the referee had his back turned. I don't know.
That's pretty specific there, Rob.
That day,
something that allegedly happened. That was pretty.
That
specific.
day, I was having muscle spasms, and my arm just kind of flung out and caught him in the eye.
Oh, so it wasn't intentional.
It was inadvertent, and the referee didn't see it, so I consider that a clean win because I consider that a clean win because
you didn't get caught.
There was no purposeful. Dirty tactics used.
I'm buying that.
We also saw
coming on again.
Yeah.
Bishop and Ray Rogers defeated Sage Ramsey and Chase Brooks to retain the CIPW Tag Team Championship. Guy Smith came out while the beatdown was happening after the match, and he said, "You know what? I'm tired of this bull crap. I want a title match against Napier right now." And due to Bishop, I believe, having his voice heard over the speakers in the venue, just saying, Guy Smith got distracted, and Napier retained his title by pinfall. And then the main event, Casey Jackson would take on a new up-and-comer in the more northern central Illinois area, DC Shaw. DC Shaw would unfortunately not be able to take home the title. However, I do believe after the match he made Casey Jackson tap out. So that was CIPW. Do you have results from the show you went to?
Black Label Pro in Crown Point, Indiana. They had a tag team tournament that night. They crowned the first ever Black Label Pro Tag Team Champions. Started out with, I'm going to try to see if I can remember the entire card.
Well, while you're speaking of tag team tournaments, Toga tournament's coming up here next month.
Toga tournament's coming up. We will be covering that here in just a moment.
The first match had a fatal 4-way tag team tournament match between, let me think, who was on this? PME, Ethan Page and Kobe Durst. No New Friends.
No New Friends was there?
Yeah. And
I'm jealous.
The production. Ethan Page, Kobe Durst went on to win that match and to be in the tournament finals. After that, Hornswoggle defeated Ricky Shane Page. What happened after that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Space Pirates advanced to the finals of the tag team tournament. They defeated Sad Kampf, Hysteria, and another team that I cannot remember. I'm not a broadcast journalist or reporter like you three are.
So I'm not a journalist or reporter. I'm just a technical guy.
Okay. Not a good.
That happens to know a lot about wrestling history.
Not a good reporter like you are. Orange Cassidy retained the Independent Wrestling.tv Championship against Tom Lawler. And remember, please. Got it. Trey Lamar, Missile Assault Man, and somebody else defeated Cabana Man Dan and Boomer Hatfield and Jake Lander, but Jake Lander turned on Cabana Man Dan and Boomer Hatfield in the middle of the match. The finals of the tag team tournament happened. Space Pirates defeated Ethan Page and Kobe Durst to become the first ever Black Label Pro Tag Team Champions. After the match, however, Kobe Durst hit Ethan Page with the title, and Jake Lander and Trey Lamar came out and beat up Space Pirates. So it looks like they're going to be teasing that a bit, and that was Black Label Pro.
Very cool. Very epic style.
I forgot a lot about it, so
I don't blame you.
it's okay.
Not as a shot to anyone.
No, Black Label Pro is...
It was 3 hours away.
Black Label Pro is one of the best promotions in that area, and they're going to have a show on WrestleMania weekend
in New Jersey.
And it's going to be amazing.
Oh,
I can't be there.
I heard about it. Me neither. I mean, it's in New Jersey. It's the night before the Toga tournament. But anyway.
Well, I thought, Rob, with you being the reporter extraordinaire, the analyst, that you could just, snap your fingers and get a jet.
I know you're the one that's going to be in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've got prior engagements during those shows. But here's the but.
Wouldn't.
I did buy the pay-per-views so I can watch them while I'm on my way there. Especially the let me see, what was the name of the show? Handy Dandy Fight TV app, which still has episodes of Pinfall TV. If you want to,
New episodes, though, are available on YouTube.
Yes. But
just type in Pinfall Television, subscribe, click the little notification bell.
And while you're doing that, do that for us.
Yes, the family Jersey City Family Reunion, which has a rematch between Jake Parnell and Gary J. And then the other show is another Black Label Pro show, Adventures in Wrestling, which former PWA Regional Heavyweight Champion Jake Lander will be a part of. While I can't be there in person, I will be watching.
It's not like the movie Adventures in Babysitting, is it?
No.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
Don't F with the wrestler.
No.
Anyway, also, coming up, we've got a few indie shows in this area. 2 days from now, March 16th, Homer, Illinois, Homer Opera House. Excuse me. UWC will present the Alpha and Omega Tournament, which will feature Gnarls Garvin, Big Beef Gnarls Garvin.
Oh, no, it's Gnarls Barkley.
Yeah, it's Gnarls Barkley.
I keep getting them mixed up.
Fabian Barbosa. Big Sexy JP, Cooter Daniels,
and I was.
At least you didn't say it backwards.
Daniels Cooter.
And he said it.
It's gotta suck if he checks into a hospital. Daniels Cooter. Ezra Zealous. The 5'7" gift from heaven,
Goodbye,
Oliver
PG
Kane.
rating.
Yep, that went out the window.
We've now
James
done the PG-13.
Brady. And handsome Dan Liplock, who's even on the poster for this show.
Would I be remiss in, saying that there's a very good chance that you could be there with
Well, yeah, duh. I mean, Dr. Robert Leach is always with handsome Dan.
helping cheat for
Proctologist.
Cheat.
Mr. Liplock?
Cheat. We're not getting into this conversation.
Oh, yes, we are a sport.
Women's triple threat match, I believe for the 0-1 USA women's title. Reign Victoria defends against Valentina Loca and Savannah Stone. And a UWC Championship rematch, an I Quit match, as Shank Barzini defends his UWC title against the Powder Keg, Jimmy Carrot. 101 North Main Street, Homer, Illinois. Doors 6 p.m., showtime 7 p.m. $12 at the door, $10 at homeroperahouse.com. That's this Saturday, March 16th. Next weekend, next Saturday, March 23rd, PWA heads to Quincy, Illinois, where you can see the debuts of Sid Holland, D.C. Shaw, and Roy the Strangler Lewis. We also see regional heavyweight champion Casey Jackson, the modern-day outlaw Brian Ely. We see tag team champions Attitude Inc. and many, many more stars as well. The weekend after that...
And where's that at in Quincy?
Quincy High School. Somewhere on Main Street. I don't have that information at hand.
Well, at least you knew it was the high school.
Oh, no, I know it's the high school. Then we've got 0-1 USA on March 30th, where we will be seeing special guest The Boogeyman.
Coming to get you.
A steel cage match, champion versus champion. Heavyweight champion Christian Rose takes on junior heavyweight champion Jake Parnell. The Lowlifes defend the tag team championship against Zero Gravity. We see a Four Corners match as Da Cobra, accompanied by Justin King, takes on Gary J, which is also going to include Jake Lander, and Nick Brubaker. We see a special attraction tag team match as them, Cardini and Shank Barzini, take on Gnarls Garvin and the Monster Abyss. A women's steel cage women's championship match. Reign Victoria defends against Savannah Stone in the cage.
That should be good.
Yes.
Also appearing, the Lowlife's security, Rated Ralph the ring announcer, Nick King, Ezra Zealous, Oliver Kane, a familiar name Casey Jackson, and handsome Dan Liplock, who will be taking on Oliver Kane, might I add, and Ezra Zealous will be taking on Victor Analog. Then, the night after that, we're going to go to Decatur, and then we're going to go to Belleville for Glory Pro the very next night, which, let me take a look. We'll be at both of those.
I assume.
You better. You better.
I think we're going to be a witness to a domestic dispute.
That's what it looks like.
This is not a domestic dispute. Shut up.
Violent.
Anyway, we've got Glory Pro presents Aces High in Belleville,
Aces
Illinois.
High. Why are they letting them compete?
On March 31st, Belleville Fairgrounds, 200 South Belt East, Belleville, Illinois. Doors open 2 p.m., showtime 3 p.m. $17 general admission, $20 day of the show. We see the Crown of Glory Championship defended as Kurt Stallion defends his title In the Stage 3 of the International Challenge Series, representing Canada, Kurt Stallion will be defending against Ethan Page, all ego. We see the 4-star heroes taking on no new friends, Danny Adams and Mike Outlaw.
In a double tables match.
That does say a double tables match. Okay. In a double tables match. The besties in the world, Matt Fitchett and Davey Vega, they defend the United Glory Tag Team Championship against Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr.'s The Lucha Bros.
Bro.
I'm waiting for that. I wish there was some sort of reaction. It's going to be a hell of a match.
I know.
We see Airwolf team up with Dorado to take on Myron Reed and Stephen Wolf. We see Joey Lynch take on Kobe Durst. Hakim Zane take on Eddie Kingston. And Kylie Ray will return to Glory Pro. We also see a 6-man tag as the Space Pirates, Shane Saber and Space Monkey, team up with Sei Sheen to take on Sophie King, Aaron Orion, and the monster of the Midwest from the mean streets of East St. Louis, Baracus.
Does the ring announcer always have to say all of that?
Yeah.
Wow.
He also weighs 337 pounds.
So in other words, if you didn't, I don't want to say that. He can influence you to say it.
Anyway, that's it for Glory Pro. Then the week after, we've got PWA back here in Springfield for the Toga Steve Memorial Tournament, April 6th, 2019. The night after NXT TakeOver New York, the night before WrestleMania. It's going to be a lot of fun. WrestleMania weekend. Not in the WrestleMania area, so it's not as important, some would say. But yeah. I think it's just
only one person on this panel will be in that area.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to work on something for the show. So
you can't see it right now
we're gonna,
on screen there, Eric, but you're number one.
Yeah, I know I'm number one. But yeah, if everything works out right, I might have a little special surprise. But we're going to see how that works out.
Speaking of Justin King, I see that he just released a promo for 01. We weren't speaking of Justin King.
No, we weren't.
We were before the show started, but...
Anyway. We have also got PWA at 1401 North 8th Street, Springfield, Illinois, April 6, 2019. Doors open 6:30, showtime 7 o'clock p.m. Adults are $12, kids 6 to 12 are $10, kids 5 and under are always free. It's going to be a lot of fun. You did it. Good job. I'm proud of you.
I'll be there too.
Yeah, Joe will be there too.
I think we'll all be there
except for
Mr. WrestleMania there.
Yeah, Mr. WrestleMania.
No, Mr. G1.
There we go. That's
Mr. G Spot. What the hell?
G Spot? At least, never mind.
Hey,
R-rated.
This is a family show.
We lost the PG.
We're at R now.
A long time ago.
Anyway. We were at PG-13 earlier. Now we're at R.
Well, if I made the comment I was going to make,
then we'd be at NC-17.
Anyway.
After the show.
We've also got April 13th.
Stay tuned for After the Bell.
April 13th, Proving Ground Pro will present the Ryan Buckley Memorial Tournament. They've been advertising so much about this show. It's very important to the owners of Proving Ground Pro. Ryan Buckley being memorialized with this tournament. We will see Aaron Orion competing in the Buckley Cup. We will see Hakim Zane in the Buckley Cup. We'll see Shane Saber in the Buckley Cup. We're going to see Diamonds Are Forever try to take on the Alpha Omega, the PWA.
Wow.
PGP Tag Team Champions.
He's been running down so many companies right now that he's got them all mixed up now.
Jake Durden, the Cutting Edge champion, is in the match. We are going to see Rich Homie Juice, AJ Gray in the tournament. We will be seeing Derek Neal in the tournament. Tyler Matrix. I thought that was Kobe Durst for a minute. I had to double check.
Kobe Durst and Diamonds are forever. You are not a...
And now the big match. You're going to hear it here, ladies and gentlemen. Jake Lander is unable to compete at this event. So, he's got a little bit of a replacement in a certain four-way elimination match for the PGP Franchise Championship. Vic Capri, who is a former WWF superstar, will be in this match. The Monster of the Midwest, Baracus, will be in this match. Mr. PGP, Danny Adams, will be in this match. However, no legend, no monster, no wannabe Mr. PGP can add up and equal or be greater than the greatness, the handsomeness, and the talent of the fourth member of that match, Handsome Dan Liplock.
Well, since we're at R, I can now say that Rob's on his knees again.
Never mind.
It's going to be a fantastic night, a fantastic match. Yes, indeed. But then, I currently don't have any other shows scheduled.
Oh, we're pretty much about out of time almost anyway.
Until May 11th, when PWA presents the Grand Wrestling Spectacle number 9.
Breaking in the 9th year of PWA.
9 years almost we've been doing this.
It will be at that point.
Actually 8 years. 9 is just starting off.
Starting the 9th year, yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, we're going to see the main event. Casey Jackson defends the Regional Heavyweight Championship against the Powder Keg, Jimmy Carrot. But not only do doors open to the general public at 6:30, showtime 7 o'clock, all tickets are $15, kids 5 and under are always free.
And what do they get for an additional $25 there, Rob?
Just a moment.
Tell them what they've won.
Just a moment, because also on the card we see Harley taking on Charlie Cruel. After Charlie Cruel attacked Harley back at Envy earlier this month. However, for an additional $25, if you show up at the door at 5:30, $40, you get any seat you'd like. You get a photo opportunity with our spectacle guest. You get a signed 8x10 from our spectacle guest. And you get to attend a Q&A session with our spectacle guest.
And who is that
guest? Is none other than former AWA, WWF, and NWA Tag Team Champion, the WWE Hall of Famer, the Road Warrior Animal. Will be our special guest. Oh, what a rush indeed. It's going to be a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for the Sleeper Hold. I've been the analyst Robert Leach with the Cooganator, the insider Eric Zeidler, and our special guest Joseph Pullman. We're going to be seeing you next week where there are no disqualifications on the topics and falls count anywhere.
Say goodnight, Rob.
Everybody say bye.